So thank you so much for coming. Welcome to TSX, the Spirits Experience X Series talk show. I'm excited because I have a small intimate crew joining me in person and joining you online. So thank you so much for being with me again. Tonight's going to be special because I have 3 different categories, one of which most people go, lame, but please don't say that. It's fantastic. I'm creating a flight of vodka. Surprise, surprise. Vodka is a neutral grain spirit, not always grain, but in this case, it's neutral grain spirit. It can be made from any really agricultural product, so it doesn't have to be grains. In case you didn't know that, it can be. But in this case, all grains. And the reason I've chosen this flight of vodka is because it's going to represent the whiskeys that we're tasting. Yeah? It's kind of a hint, although I haven't told you what the whiskeys are. So you still don't know. That being said, this is completely blind. We're going to try and decipher what is the grain in the vodka that we're tasting. And so no pressure for those of you sitting here. I'm going to make you come up and join me because I want you to spend time thinking about what you're smelling, which is going to be very little. You're probably going to get more alcohol than you're going to get the grain. But once you taste, you'll get a sense of what that grain might be. And we'll talk about the grain before we start tasting. So that's our talk, starting to help with vodka. Okay, so who should we bring up? Maybe, since this is about a female's perspective, I should definitely grab a wine. And maybe we have a couple of men in the audience. We have some tokens. We should bring in a guy too. But so nonetheless, I digress. I'm going to bring up a female. Who would like to join me without pressure of me calling you? Because I'm going to call one of you many females. One of you.
I'll do.
Carol, oh my, I love her.
Claire.
Claire. Claire. My mother. Claire, oh. I will give you no pressure. And let's find a guy. I'm going to bring these guys back and forth. There's only a couple of them. So, Jay has no food. Jay, come on up with me. Why don't you take this seat? So, nonetheless, I digress. So, what are neutral spirits? We tend to think of neutral spirits as those things that are bland and they don't have flavor. Wrong. Do you disagree with me, Jay? Do we think neutral
I'm supposed to agree
spirits?
with you on your show, right?
No, you're not. Absolutely not.
I'm not a big vodka fan.
I know that. That's why I wanted you here. So you're not a big vodka fan because?
I don't think it has the character, something that gets character from the aging process.
Ah, so he does know a thing or two. Right, because aging does create a lot more character. But there can be character found in raw spirits that are distilled, and we're going to discover that. I'm going to challenge him to figure it out and let his palate tell him the truth in neutral grain spirits. Okay, so first thing, we should think about the grain. So corn, when we're tasting, is likely going to be more textural versus flavor. Because we think about bourbon, huge bourbon fan. We tend to think, oh, I get the taste of corn. I don't really think we're tasting corn so much. But we can argue that at some point in time. But think about corn as an ingredient, perhaps. Corn will give us delicacy, creaminess, more weight than flavor. Maybe a hint of sweetness, but very, very faint. If we're talking rye, we should expect a spicy note, right? A little more harsh expression of that neutral grain that we think have no character. And then if we're talking barley, crazy, that's not likely. But maybe if we're talking barley, we might get more sweet cereal, right? Sort of nuances to that distilled spirit. What else could there be? Wheat, we have rye, we have corn, barley. Yeah, I think we're good. So we can assume it's probably one of the 3 of those 4. So why are we? Okay, so let's go for it. We're going to start left to right so we understand if we're tasting a corn or creaminess is likely corn, right? If we're getting a spark of spice, don't confuse spice of heat with alcohol though, right? Think about pepper spice because alcohol comes across, particularly in a neutral grain, almost as a spice because the alcohol is so high. Okay, let's go for it. So left to right, I poured our vodka, and we don't know, and we certainly shouldn't expect color. And I haven't told you where they're from. So we'll figure that out in a bit. Nose-wise, Claire gives me the look. So on your nose, now this is what makes them special. You can stick your nose in this little cup and it's not chilling you. Usually in vodka, you're like, oh my God, it's a burn. That tells you the quality of this vodka already, just saying. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and smell it.
Smells like rubbing alcohol.
Not bad. And now I'm tasting it. Okay, so is this flavorless? Mm-hmm. Not at all. Jay, is this flavorless for you?
Oh, it's a little sweet.
Oh, my dear, right? We get some flavor. So there's a sign. We talked about what the grains might provide us. So we can deduce, but we'll just reserve our opinion. But we do get a bit of sweetness. What else do you guys get? This is actually fantastic.
I mean,
by the way.
I thought it felt creamy,
It
but
does
you know
feel.
what? I
I
don't have
think
anything
that.
to
I think
compare
that too. Actually.
There's
It
a
does-
weight, right?
Yeah.
Don't doubt your thoughts. I'm with you 100%. But it also has a little bit of a, like a menthol on the end. It's the alcohol, but it's, this is smooth. I am super
is very
impressed. I've
smooth.
never had it before, but I know what it is. And I think it's fantastic. Okay, let's move to the middle. I really don't know the order for sure, but I know it should be. So if I screw up, Harry, my side guy,
So
will
that
tell
was,
me.
That was sweet and creamy.
Sweet and creamy and crisp. Do you guys agree?
On the second one?
We're on
The
the
first
first
one.
one.
Love your
Someone's gonna hail it
enthusiasm.
first.
That.
I don't remember anymore.
It's okay. Okay.
Mm.
Wow. Oh, this is smooth.
Yeah.
This is super smooth.
I detect a little of the peppery in this
A
one.
lot more pepper. I think it's alcohol pepper than pepper
Think so?
spice. Because it doesn't last. It's like,
It is true.
so I just, that's my deduction. If it's
There's not much aftertaste in this
No.
one. It
It's
comes and
smooth,
goes.
but it's like it's gone. It's very simple, but it's creamy. It's also weighted. It's not. Second one. We're on. Completely different than the first one, though. We don't
Very,
get
yeah.
sweet notes. We don't
That's
get.
sweet.
This might be more of your bland familiarity, but it still has an essence to it that has an appeal for me. There's something there that lasts, and then it's over. It's almost a grassiness to it. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the final one. Wow, I didn't even swallow this. This has so much flavor. This has flavor. We're on the final one. But again, smooth as hell. I mean, these are like gorgeous vodkas. I absolutely adore them. But I do appreciate vodka, unlike many people that find that none of them have character. And I think these are three distinct tasting vodkas for what they are. And now that I tasted all three, I know exactly the order. I think I know exactly the order. I could be wrong, but Harry will catch me on that because I should know the order. Okay, so what do we think we tasted? Knowing the grains, we talked about creamy, sweet, kind of could be corn. We also said sweet could be wheat, right? Didn't talk so much about the weight. Rye, we talked about spice, a little more crispness. And then barley, we said grainy like, not much to say barley. What do we think we're getting? If we were to deduce this flight of vodkas,
I would guess middle one corn.
can't hear you.
Middle one is corn.
Okay.
This one is rye.
So the last one is rye.
Yeah.
I think I'm with you there 100%. So that spice that we talked about in the other is kind of like, this is still resonating on my palate. It's like,
I
whoa.
agree that one's rye. I thought that was corn. It might be wheat, but I thought
first
that one
one.
was corn.
Okay. So what would be the middle one?
I can't place that one at all.
I think I'm with you.
I mean, it's very easy to drink, but the flavors are so subtle. Like I'm having, this one has more mouthfeel. This one has, I think, a little bit of the pepper.
For sure. I think the last one, hands down, I was in
That one-
rye.
I feel like that one. I don't get the barley, so I'm thinking it's wheat, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, see, I don't get barley, but we don't usually taste barley.
That's what I'm
Right?
still struggling on that.
So my deduction, since I know we have, so I'll make it easy for you. We have rye, we have wheat, and we have barley.
We don't have a corn?
Nope.
Wow.
So now I've eliminated one choice for
All
you.
right.
Let's rethink this. Our last one is still rye, yes?
Still saying rye.
When I say
Okay.
barley, wheat, rye.
I'm going to say wheat and barley.
I think I would agree with Jay. because barley, again, we don't really taste. Barley is very simple. It's very, think about it more as an additive. You're rarely going to get a flavor from barley, but wheat has that sweet, we
Yeah.
talked about slight sweet delicacy, winter wheat.
Oh,
Those are
okay.
just delicious wheats. So it makes sense that we got a little bit of sweetness. So we have deduced that vodka does have a bit of
So I
personality.
said corn or wheat, barley and rye.
Damn,
Is that
you're
right?
good. You are like high five, Mr. Man.
Is that right?
Right. Yes, it was 100%. So he kind of knows a thing or two. It's not just whiskey.
Well,
I'm
today I
impressed.
learned that it's not just potatoes. I
No,
knew
it's
nothing
not.
about that.
Right? It's not just potatoes. It's rarely potatoes.
That's what you should have
honestly.
said.
Every day?
Potatoes.
I got
When
an
vodka
Idaho.
Yeah, when vodka, back in the day in Europe, Eastern Europe, hot potato was the thing. But it's far from the thing today, right? Like it's far from. It's rare to get potato so much. And again, remembering that vodka can be made from any raw agricultural product. Get grapes, Ciroc, right?
Distill anything agricultural long enough, you end up with vodka.
Yeah. Well, that's not the way to say it. The point is, if you distill a product, you can get a neutral product.
You can't distill a cow.
No, that's for sure. Let's not even go there. So, what did you think of the vodkas? In all
I
truth.
actually like them. I would drink all of them. I would probably pick this one first because I like the texture.
All of that. Yeah.
So,
the
but
first
this one reminds me a bit more of White Dog in.
and we reveal.
Gee, I wonder what it's made
This
of.
would be the first one. Wheatley, Buffalo Trace, quality premium, Dane straight. Yeah. This is quite lovely.
So if I were drinking whiskey that night, I would drink this one.
Yeah, because it has a little bit of a contemplation.
If I were starting the evening, I would drink this one.
Oh, I like
And if
this.
I were really making cocktails where the ingredients matter, it's a lot of fresh things, I'd probably use this one.
I'm impressed. I like that idea. Okay, so we just had agreed that we love the Wheatley. And oh my, this was, talk about textural. This was beautiful. This was the barley. This is a solid vodka. It's made in a little tiny village in Finland. So it's a Finnish vodka, and it is quite spectacular. The problem is, I think it makes a better cocktail than it does on its own. It doesn't have enough personality for me to like love all over it, but the texture is quite lovely.
That's the middle one.
That's the
Middle
middle
one.
one. And our very final one, which is rye, would be rye Baruva. That's a mouthful. And this is total rye. But I loved it. It wasn't overpowering rye, was it?
No, I love rye. It was good. It was
I love
the right amount of pepper without being too much.
Yeah, I think it was fantastic. So these are your vodkas in case you wanted images. And so there we are with our vodka segment. Thank you for joining us. We learned a couple things. Grains make a huge difference. So if you like barley, you won't taste it, but you'll appreciate the experience of barley with this one. And then you have this Wheatley that's outrageous. Of course, it's Buffalo Trace, solid out of Kentucky.
Oh, that's a Buffalo Trace one?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Would be.
All right.
Yeah, Wheatley.
I love that distillery.
Yeah, it's spot on. I think it is. And that's our vodka segment. So thank you for joining us. We're going to move on to our next. We'll catch you next time. Ciao.